Hello everyone, Bart with Volair Sim. Today a short IFR flight using the Volair Sim Cockpit and PilotEdge. We're going to fly from Santa Barbara to Santa Maria. It's a short flight, only 30 minutes en route, but the real weather in Santa Maria, I'm using the real weather, is forecasted to be an IFR. So we will be doing an IFR approach into Santa Maria, or an instrument approach, but the flight should be a VFR flight. You can hear in the speakers that we're talking already to, or we're listening to the PilotEdge controllers. I'm sitting in the Santa Barbara at Santa Barbara Airport in the Lancair Legacy. The plane is running. You know, I've got the radios somewhat configured so we can get started. Let me call clearance and get our IFR clearance into Santa Maria. The clearance frequency at Santa Barbara is 132.9er. 132.9er. So I'm going to dial it in. And then the ground frequency I'm just going to put on standby was 1 to 1.7. Santa Barbara weather is VFR. We're looking at winds 310 at 6 knots, 10-mile visibility, clear skies. Temperature 18 degrees, dew point 12, altimeter 3012. So let's just verify it. I've got altimeter setting right here at 3012. So we are ready to call for clearance. I'll turn on my headphones here. These are wireless headphones, and I've got it set up in such a way where I can talk on the headset and I can listen on the speakers.
Adjust our 220. That's for my 2 power, right? And then join Charlie to the ramp.
Let's just test it out, make sure it works correctly. And I'm using push to talk button here on the joystick, which you cannot see, or I can use it on the yoke. Santa Barbara clearance delivery, Legacy 356 Tango Bravo over.
Okay, just our 220 for the future. When you read back your taxi instructions, just say the taxi letters and crossing runway instructions if needed. So Mike, Charlie, cross 25 right. That's all you have to say. And who called Santa Barbara?
Clearance delivery for Santa Barbara, Legacy 356 Tango Bravo. Request IFR clearance into Santa Maria.
356 Tango Bravo. Clearance on request. Standby.
So he's getting our clearance. I filed.
Somebody call it John Wayne.
I filed just a very simple route. So let me kind of show you. I don't know if you can see it. Gaviota VOR. Then from there, basically another VOR called Guadalupe, and then from there to Santa Maria. 6,000 feet for the altitude. Santa Barbara as a airport is a Class D airspace, and
the Legacy 356 Tango Bravo clear to Santa Maria Airport via fly runway heading radar vectors Gaviota VOR, then direct. Maintain 5,000, expect 1,010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency is 125.4, squawk 2405.
Wrote everything down here, so we're going to repeat our clearance. Legacy 356 Tango Bravo is cleared to Santa Maria via runway heading departure, Gaviota VOR, then direct. Claim maintain 5,000, expect 6,010 minutes after departure. Departure frequency will be 125.4, squawk 2405.
Number 6 Tango Bravo read.
Okay, so we got our readback, so let's dial it into the autopilot. First, let's dial our initial altitude of 5,000 feet.
Hotel Charlie, Kilo.
5,000 feet. All right, let's put our squawk here in our transponder, which would be 2405.
Number 350 Alpha Zulu Fullerton Tower, runway 24, fly heading 120, clear for takeoff.
2405 in the transponder. So, and then let's put our Gaviota VOR in the nav1. Gaviota VOR is 113.8.
Actually, taxi of Bravo and Foxtrot to the right.
Okay. We can switch over to the ground frequency. Now, we're going to call them, and the tower is 119.7. So I'll put a tower right here. Okay, before we call the ground, let's just make sure we've got our ducks in a row here. Let's review the runway headings here and kind of show you where we are. We are positioned at the east parking area, kind of north of where the terminal is. So not typically where an FBO airplane would, or a general aviation airplane would be stationed. So it's an east side. The closest runway for us would be runway 25. Given the winds, I am guessing we're going to get taxi instructions runway 33, left or right, which are aligned with the wind today. So again, we'll depart via runway heading and then Gaviota VOR. Gaviota VOR. Okay, let's review our cockpit. We have our initial altitude here. This is our annunciator panel. We've got a autopilot we have to disconnect. We've got our beacon light, strobe lights turned on, avionics master. Put our one notch of flaps for takeoff. We have our panel lights because it's getting dark now. Beacon. Put our nav lights, and then landing lights are off. We'll put them right after at the takeoff. So let's call ground, and then let's get going.
Cessna 727 for Hotel John Wayne ground, runway 20 left at intersection Kilo, taxi via Alpha Hotel Charlie Kilo.
Santa Barbara ground, Legacy 356 Tango Bravo, ready to taxi IFR. We have the weather.
Legacy 356 Tango Bravo. Santa Barbara ground, runway 5 taxi via Alpha Golf.
Runway 25 via Alpha Golf, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. Okay, so I was incorrect. We're going to taxi to runway 25 via Alpha and then Golf. So that's a pretty short
in Skyline 8 to Golf, crossing flight following ready.
Pretty short taxi. So we'll make sure our brakes are off.
Ready to Golf, Roger. Departure frequency, actually, go back to the code and frequency, I'll get back to you.
Taxi Alpha is right here.
Keller 352 ground, runway 20 right, taxi via Alpha Lima Ultra.
And Golf is going to be to our left. And runway 25 is going across, if you will, across the monitors.
Cessna 6182, departure remain clear of the Los Angeles class Bravo airspace. Departure frequency is 125.2, squawk 5451.
So you see that Golf is right here to the left, so we'll taxi up.
I'm ready to go for that.
Approaching runway 25.
I'm using ProFlight here, so you can hear him that give me a warning that I'm approaching runway 25. We're gonna stop here, short of the hold short line. Normally now we would do our run up. We would take out our checklist, we would go through all of that. I'm not going to do that because this is not intended to be an IFR instruction flight. So we'll skip through that, but nonetheless it's good to just go through the panels, make sure we've got everything set up here. So autopilot, runway heading, we can put that in autopilot if you want, just for how can I say this, memory. So I can take my heading bug and put it on the runway 25, which would be 250 degrees, since we're going to be departing on runway heading. I've got my initial altitude, 5,000, so we cannot climb any higher than that. We have our first notch of flaps. I'm going to turn on my landing light. Normally I would probably put my fuel pump on, but I will not do that because it's relatively loud. We're going to switch over to tower frequency, which is 119.7, and I'm already going to dial in my departure frequency, 1 to 5.4. When I fly in real life, always do that because you're going to be really busy after departure. So you want to make sure you've got your frequency ready to go so you can just flip it. Okay, and then we're going to put our transponder on normal, which is, we've got this transponder box here in the right hand corner. You may not see it. Alright, we got our trim set for takeoff position, so verify that. Verify our engine gauges, again run up. We've got our altimeter setting is correct, so we're going to call tower for takeoff. Santa Barbara Tower, Legacy 356, Tango Bravo, runway 25, ready for takeoff.
Okay, C356 Tango Bravo, Santa Barbara Tower, runway 25, takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 25, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. You also notice I have a force feedback joystick, which I really like. Okay. Positive rate of climb. Press the brakes to stop the wheels from turning. Gear up.
Challenge 352.
We are on runway heading, and then we'll be. I can switch my map view here, as we're gonna get radar vectors to Gaviota VOR.
Number 16 about departure.
Going to departure, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. Santa Barbara departure, Legacy 356 Tango Bravo, chicken in 1,000, climbing 5,000.
Legacy 356 Tango Bravo. Santa Barbara radar contact, climb and maintain 6,000.
Climb and maintain 6,000, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. So we're on runway heading. We can put our 6,000 for the altimeter. I'm sorry, for the altitude. We're still on runway heading.
Moon is 0 off position, right heading 290, intercept on my 30 localizer.
In order to fly to Gaviota VOR from here, he would have to turn us to the northwest. So we'll be expecting that turn.
Cell 721, red effective, lost.
Okay, after takeoff, check.
Tango Bravo. Turn right, heading 300, directed for Santa Maria.
Right, 300, 6 Tango Bravo. Okay, so he's going to give us radar vectors for Santa Maria. We're not even going to go to Gaviota VOR. So right heading 300. What I will do is I'll put on the autopilot, I'll turn on the heading in altitude mode, because I am going to open up my approach plates and switch over to my Santa Maria Airport, because Santa Maria identifier is Sierra Mike X-ray.
Cell 721, center swap 2034.
Weather in Santa Maria, let's review that while we have a few minutes. IFR conditions, broken at 700, temperature 2.14, winds are 300 at 5 knots. We have an ILS approach, we have a localizer approach, DME with a backcourse alpha, RNAV, VOR, we've got all kinds of stuff. That's why I picked this airport. The elevation of this airport is 261 feet. Pattern altitude, if you were flying VFR, would be 1,000 feet above that, which is 1261. We're gonna raise our flaps. Again, that's why you would have a after takeoff checklist. So I forgot to do that, and now you can see why you would want to do have a checklist ready for the airplane, so you wouldn't forget to do that. So to review everything, you can turn off the landing lights off, we'll raise the flaps, and then we're flying on autopilot on heading 300 and we're climbing to 6,000 feet. We do not have GPS here. I purposely don't do that because the GPS approaches, in my opinion, are kind of the easy ones. So I'd rather like to fly a VOR approach or an ILS approach, DME, the harder approaches. So I filed this airplane as a /alpha. What that means is I have a DME basically equipment and VOR type of a navigation, not a GPS. A GPS would be /golf. So did it on purpose so that we are not vectored, or we are not asked to do an RNAV or GPS approach, which again are kind of easy because you just follow the GPS. Left 270, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo.
Counter 352, okay. Los Angeles Center. Actually, before you go to Tower 352, VFR traffic 2 o'clock, 3 miles northwestbound, and converging. VFR indicates 10,600, tap on it. Counter 352, very good. Contact Los Angeles Center on 125, 1272. XL 777 on Las Vegas, press 125.02.
Winds are 300 at 5. So what type of approach request can we request? I would like to do an ILS approach for runway 12.
South 777 on Express, thank you.
Circle to land maybe.
East and via the Cape X3 Island, Texas, no first 25.
Maybe he will do a localizer DME backcourse alpha for
Legacy 16 Bravo, 5,500, Santa Barbara Alpha 301. I'm sorry, number Santa Barbara disregard. Me, 6,000.
6 Tango Bravo. Yeah, he cleared us for 6,000.
16 Bravo, do you have an approach request? Number in the wind, 205, altimeter 3018, ceiling 700 bro.
Legacy 356 Tango Bravo, request ILS runway 12, and if possible we'll circle to land runway 30.
Legacy 16 Bravo, I had request from heading 320 back from localizer.
Right heading 320, vectors for the localizer.
Counter 352, Los Angeles Center, good evening.
So what I did is I requested an ILS approach for runway 12, but because of the winds, we're gonna circle the airport and actually land on runway 30. So we're going to use our ILS approach, but then we can actually circle and land on runway 30, and I'll explain it in a second here. Let's get all of that stuff set up here. ATIS 1 to 1.15, we would listen to that. Our localizer is 108.9er, put that on. Let's see, Santa Maria Towers 118.3. Put that in there. Okay. Let's see, our final approach course is 120 degrees, we can put that.
And off the left will be Las Vegas Airport, 90 miles, reporting time.
As a memory kind of 8, the approach is 120. So here's the situation with those circle to land approaches. It's 120. That's good enough.
System 249, Alpha approach, good evening, flying 330 back to Universal 21, so to maintain 8,000.
Alright. On the circling approach. in a circling approach, what you would do is you would descend to 860 feet. You have to have a 1 mile visibility, which we do, but you have to have 860 feet, and then that's your minimum descent altitude. And from there, you can circle to land, and it'll tell you direction of circling and everything, but then you'll descend to that, level off, and then from there, you can land on runway 30. Make sure that you keep the runway in sight, right? So here's the idea. You use the ILS to get you down to your decision altitude. Well, actually, it's not the decision altitude. It's higher than this normal decision altitude than ILS approach, because ILS would take you to, for a straight-in approach, would take you to basically 200 feet above the ground. So circling is 600 feet above the ground. So it's much higher. But the idea is that if you're trying to land on a different runway than where the wind is coming from, you can use your ILS as an aid and then land on the other runway. Hopefully that makes sense. And here's the approach plate for this approach, ILS runway 12 for Santa Maria. Again, if you're flying in real life, you do all kinds of other checks, making sure this is a current plate, making sure you got the right airport dialed in, review the missed approach procedures, which actually we should do here anyway, just for the review. Missed approach would be climb to 800, then climbing left turn to 5000 and direct to the MQO VORTAC. And the MQO VORTAC is Morro Bay 112.4. So why don't we do that and put it on the in standby? So if we were to circling the airport and we would lose the sight of the airport, we'd have to execute the missed approach. That's the idea. I'm going to slow us down because we're going to begin our descent here in any minute. And you know, this is a very aerodynamic and fast airplane, so I don't want to have to manage the bleeding in the airspeed and trying to fly the approach at the same time. And I just noticed here that the audio went silent for a second, so I think I got unfortunately disconnected from PilotEdge. It happens once in a while and I cannot figure out what causes it. See, it's connected, but the on light was not on, so I'm going to reconnect and see if that's going to work.
Quick visual approach, 125 left.
I'm going to let him know that I got disconnected. Santa Barbara approach, this is Legacy 356 Tango Bravo. I'll just let you know that we got disconnected from the server. We're back on the frequency.
Legacy 6 Tango Bravo, thanks for letting me know. Can you new squawk for you, squawk 4613.
4613, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. So he gave us a new squawk here.
So 880, we just had to go around down there. Maintain 7. Back, 1,000 figure out the time. And present heading to. Next L880, just pressing for now.
Happens once in a while, you get disconnected, and I still cannot figure out what's causing it. It would be nice.
So 880.
For that type of flying to have a hardwired connection to the router, and unfortunately in our room here we are running a wireless connection, and I wonder if that has something to do with it.
So 880 descend and maintain 6,000.
I don't know if you can see that I've got the geo-referenced version of the Flight, which basically means that I am actually seeing the airplane overlaid on the approach plate. Since I use this for real-life flying, it's quite useful. I don't know if you can see it, but the little airplane here. That's me.
So 880.
And you know, this is the approach plate we were just discussing. And basically it's taking the information, it's connecting to the FSX.
So 880 very small to base the final from sequencing for visual choices.
So it's really simulating the as if I were flying in a real airplane. You can see the weather's deteriorating rapidly. Again, let's review the weather, because you know, technically I would be listening to the ATIS, and the ATIS would tell me that I've got winds 300 at 5, 10-mile visibility, so that's great. We have a good visibility. Clouds are 700 broken. Temperature 16, dew point 14, altimeter 3018. So let's
So
check.
880 people would wear restriction just directly, you know, if you like.
I've got already the localizer dialed into my nav1, and I'm already having it actually has a DME readout here, so I can see the distance here. And on this ILS approach,
Legacy 6 Tango Bravo, 300.
left 300, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. I'm using a real environment, so the weather is being generated as the actual weather, so it's connecting to the servers and pulling the real weather.
So 770 still to track the end to your left, company trail.
Trying to simulate it to be as realistic
So
as
770
possible,
at 10 o'clock or
with respect to flying in real life. The topography and everything is also photorealistic. If you can see it here on the left monitor, that's the Santa Maria airport. So from here it looks like the weather is VFR, and we're going to be doing an instrument approach, but I don't know, at least from here it looks like there's no clouds over the field, at least not at 700.
So 721 left heading 020, set up to maintain 7,000. Next up 721 left, just coming approach. Stallion 8 to go, next point of view approach, well, it'll be 4.7. Legacy 6 Tango Bravo is maintained 3,000.
Descend and maintain 3,000, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. Okay, pull the power. Really got to pull the power on this airplane. And I'm going to dial in 3,000 feet. Once we get a little closer, I'll try to hand fly it, not just use the autopilot. The idea again is, if you're practicing this to be a more competent pilot, you probably want to fly it by hand as much as you can. The other thing I've got here, and we just did another video earlier, is we've got our new not side mount, but the armrest kit. So I'm actually using here my joystick with a new side arm support kit, and that really works very well.
Skyline you got Roger, and just so you're advised, the point of view report is not controlled on the network due to military only status. Also, service up to the field with. So 721 turn right readings, this is going to maintain 5,000. Cell 777, start the left turn now towards the airport and keep speed up, 10 left seconds, tower 119.9 every day.
Now we're getting into some clouds now.
So 721 traffic follow from 1 o'clock, 7 miles, moving right to left to company 737.
It's one thing, it's a little hard trying to practice IFR flying on PilotEdge because it's Southern California, or it's California. You know, the weather over there for the most part is VFR, unless you count the morning fog, you know, that they have every day. But in the afternoon, you know, it's not that often that you're gonna have an IFR weather. So it's almost, you gotta seek these airports that have an IFR conditions if you wanna you know, do the practice.
352 cross Florida, maintain 13,000 Las Vegas out, 300 net.
We're descending through 4,300 feet right here for 3,000. I like to fly my approaches at 120 knots. So what I try to do for an airplane is, or for any kind of an airplane, is to figure out what kind of power settings will give me exactly that speed. And I got that memorized for the airplane I fly in real life, but for this one, it's very, it's very, I wouldn't say difficult, but you have to really bring the power down to fly that slow. Legacy, you know, it's an aerodynamic and slippery airplane. Okay, so again, what are we doing here?
C6 Tango Bravo, turn left 220.
Left 220, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. Alright, we'll take turning left to heading 220. Just beginning to show you what we're doing here. So he is doing radar vectors to intercept final approach course. Very typical in real life, you know, in the radar environment. They're just gonna basically turn you to final, is the way to maybe describe it. It's great because you don't have to fly the full procedure, turn and all of that, but kind of realistic of real life aviation, actually, the way the PilotEdge does it here. Okay, we're at 3,000 feet. Let's do our pre-flight checklist. So we're 3,000 feet here. We're gonna turn our landing lights here. Usually, again, what we will do is an outer marker. We will drop the gear. Hildy is our outer marker, which is 6.5 DME. If you can see this DME readout, we're at 10.9. And I am very close to 120 knots, which is kind of where I want it to be. And what kind of power settings will that give me on a Legacy? Let's take a look here. About
Legacy 6 Tango Bravo, descend maintain 2,300.
Descend maintain 2,300, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. About 11 inches, only about 11 inches of manifold pressure is what you need on this airplane. Now I'm descending, so I gotta bring it down because my speed is increasing again. So, gear, we'll drop it down at the outer marker. I turned on my marker beacon, so you'll hear when we hit that outer marker. And you can see our localizer and glide slope is active here on the HSI. So let me see if I can zoom this in. Right there. But he has not cleared me for the approach.
6 Tango Bravo, 4 miles from Hilldy, turn left, cutting 140, maintain 2,300, slow down from 100 feet, ILS, runway 12, correct, circle, runway 30.
Legacy 6 Tango Bravo will turning left to heading 140, maintain 2,300 until established, clear, ILS or approach, runway 12, circle to land, runway 30, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. Okay, I'm gonna put this on approach mode just for a second, so you can see how this thing will capture the approach. But as soon as we're established, which actually I will disconnect right now.
Legacy 6 Tango Bravo, nicely done, contact Marine Tower, 118.3, good night.
118.3, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. So this is Santa Maria Tower at 118.3. We are established, so I can begin my descent, but I am below the glide slope, which is typically what they're going to do, so we're not really going to be descending yet until we capture that glide slope here. Okay, let me call it the tower. Santa Maria Tower, Legacy 356 Tango Bravo, ILS, runway 12, circle to land, runway 30, approach, we've got the weather.
So 721 cross, 25 right on 5, out 5 Bravo 5, Charlie, the gates today. Number 356 Tango Bravo, Santa Maria Tower, runway, I got you, circle south of the airport, left base, runway 30, clear to land.
Circle south to their airport to land on runway 30, left base, Legacy 6 Tango Bravo. So we're gonna circle to the south of the field and enter a left base for runway 30. So hope you understand that. That basically means that we will enter a left downwind. There you go. Here's my outer market. Drop the gear down. And if you're looking at much HSI, I'm perfect on the glide slope, and I'm perfect on my localizer.
43 Juliet's.
And again, what is our decision altitude for circling? It's 860. So I cannot descend any lower than that, and have to maintain this altitude as I'm circling to land on runway 30.
So kind of departure frequency is.
Okay, let's verify everything. My gear is down and locked. I got 3 greens here. Landing light is on. Fuel and prop is full forward, and that completes the landing checklist. Usually, that landing checklist, you really need to have it memorized. GUMPS is the method that a lot of people do. GUMPS, or you have a you pull out your checklist and you would go through that. And again, you know, it's supposed to 700 feet ceilings, and when you can see, we can see the runway very clearly.
For the option after each option, make left traffic.
So we're descending through 1,200 feet. So we've got 300 feet to go. 300 feet to go. I always round up. So it's 860. I'm just going to round it up to 900. Not going to mess with the 400 feet difference. Okay, we've got 100 feet to go. 100 feet to go. I've got the runway in sight. So now I can begin my circling. And the idea is, on those type of approaches in real life, keep it a nice tight pattern so you don't lose the sight of your runway. And you go also notice how low you are with the respect to from the runway. You're only at 900 feet, right? So you're lower than the typical pattern altitude. Okay, we talked about the pattern altitude at this airport was 1,300 feet, so you are 400 feet lower than pattern altitude. So don't be alarmed by that, because it's going to look like that. It's going to look a lot lower, and the idea is, again, so you stay nice and close to the runway, because you don't want to lose the sight of it. You don't want to lose the sight of it, because typically you would have just low visibility. Low ceilings, low visibility. So left base again. Left base again, and gear is down with 1 notch of flaps. Alright, let's cut this base. Let's cut this base. Maybe just a little bit more. You can rotate your joystick and see through the left window where you are, but alright, yeah, nice tight left base.
Number 433 Juliet, traveling ground runway 20 right at Kilo, taxi via Bravo.
Legacy 6 Tango Bravo, turning final for runway 30.
Right, C6 Tango Bravo. Roger, 302.
Clear to land runway 30. Crosswind.
Skype Hotel, John Lake Tower.
Keep that nose out. Keep it going. There you go. Okay, we're gonna vacate via Alpha 3 here to the right, which is where the hangars are. So I knew I could land a little long because plenty of runway. And I knew I'm going to vacate here anyway. Alright, we're going to pull off the runway, the other side of the halt sword markings. And stop. Legacy 6 Tango Bravo vacated via Alpha 3.
Legacy 6 Tango Bravo, Texas parking via Alpha, remain this frequency, good day.
To parking Alpha, this frequency 6 Tango Bravo, good day. Okay, now we can do after our landing checklist. We'll bring our flaps up. Okay, I'm gonna turn off our fuel pump, but which I didn't turn on because of the noise. We can put our transponder on standby here. Clean the airplane, we can turn off the landing light. And this completes our flight. We're going to taxi just straight ahead to those T hangars. And call it a successful IFR flight. Not exactly what I was hoping for. I was hoping for really reduced visibility and low clouds. Kind of show you how that looks. Instead, we got another VFR-like flight, although we didn't do a, technically speaking, an instrument approach. So I might have to do another one here and see if I can actually get us an airport that truly has a low IFR or IFR conditions. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Visit us on VolairSim.com, and thank you for watching.